Your vacuum pump on your truck is driven hydraulically, and so on the passenger side of the truck you do have some components to be concerned with. You've got the hydraulic reservoir. On that reservoir you've got your sight gauge that also is a temperature gauge in there, and you've got your filter and your service reminder on the filter. So some things to keep in mind there. You can have a visual on your fluid, so if it gets low or it's too hot, then you know some things are off. And then your filter, with the filter gauge, as that filter starts to clog up, it creates back pressure, and you'll know that you need to change your filter and or flush the fluid. So there's just part of the hydraulic system. No daily requirement other than just keep an eye on it, but long-term servicing and maintenance, there's some things to look for. Also on this side you have your oil catch muffler. Your vacuum pump is a vane pump that has sliding vanes and has oil in it, and it consumes the oil and expels it through the exhaust. So this muffler catches that oil, and you will need to, on a daily or weekly basis, open this ball valve up with a bucket underneath the hose and drain the excess oil out of it. We'll walk around to the driver's side of the truck, and on this side you have your vacuum pump. Again, it's a vane pump driven hydraulically. As you can see, you've got a hydraulic motor. Couple of things to just know about this setup. This is your pressure relief valve. You don't really want more than 5 to 8 psi in this tank, so this thing is set up to open about there, and the higher the pressure, the more that opens up. It's just got a spring in there that the pressure overcomes. If you need to adjust it for your altitude, you back off this jam nut, and then you can spin this whole thing in and out to adjust the preload on that spring. On this side is a vacuum relief valve. Similar, it just opens up at about 15 inches of vacuum, and will continue to open up as the vacuum level increases. This is important because this pump is air cooled. It's cooled by the air that the pump is pulling out of the vacuum tank. So if you reach full vacuum, there's no more air left in the tank to cool this pump. So this sucks fresh air in and keeps the pump cool. This pump has a small oil pump that is connected to this oil reservoir. Always keep oil in there. It does its thing automatically otherwise. As far as the rest of the vacuum system, at the top of your tank you've got a primary shutoff. That's a ball and a cage in there. Works like a shop vac. So when your vacuum tank gets full of liquid, that ball will float and stop the flow of air so that you do not suck liquid into this vacuum pump. The vacuum pump is only meant to move air. Follow the line down, you've got a secondary shutoff, this blue guy. That does the same thing. You'll notice there's a ball that's in there. If liquid gets past the primary, it follows down into the secondary. That ball will float, stop the flow of air once again. And right on the top there you've got a vacuum pressure gauge that will show you how much vacuum or pressure is in the system. Last component to be aware of here, this is what's called a four-way valve. It reverses the flow of air through that pump, so if you flip it the other way, it will push air into the tank and create pressure, which will help you to unload the vacuum tank. You've got a 3-inch line at the top that was reduced to a 2-inch line for servicing portable toilets. A wand to stick down in the toilet with its valve on the end there. We use a vacuum hose that has a female coupler on both ends, so that if you ever do clog that hose, you can just go ahead and reverse the hose and suck the clog into the tank rather than have to put pressure in the tank and blow it out. Your 3-inch discharge is below here, and you'll notice the heat collar there that is plumbed through the radiator of the truck. Also, in terms of the heat system, if I peek the camera right around here, you will notice that you have lines running through the tank, and those lines go to the radiator also, and